Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Mike is here. Look at that. Mega Barbie right there. Amy Zemple. Why is your screen always blurry right now? Why does the hot
blurry
chick
to me?
They got to censor out.
Yeah, it's like, someone's trying to censor you out. It's like, no, she's pretty and she's got Trump gear on. Make her
Too much
blurry.
Trump gear.
Yeah. It seems like something's up. I don't know. You kind of go in and out of fuzziness. And Garrett, of course, looks spectacular on his end, crystal clear. Of course, the gay guy looks fucking awesome in his screen.
I gotta look the best for the camera.
No offense, Garrett. No offense. Welcome, everybody. It'll be kind of a strange show. You know, in a perfect world, these shows are kind of evergreen where, you know, I know there's a lot of people that listen to old Detroit Cast episodes, TDC episodes. The problem when you're talking about stuff like this is they're not evergreen. And so they don't work. They're kind of one hit and gone. That happens with playoff football coverage when you focus hard on like, oh, the Tigers in the postseason, and they're great in the moment, but they're not evergreen. So today I think of as a really important day. It's more important to some than others, obviously. But I wasn't planning on doing like a big long thing. I think tomorrow will be a longer show. Just giving people kind of the heads up. But welcome, Amy. It's good to see you. What does your shirt say exactly?
It's Trump's mugshot.
Wanted for president.
It is wanted for president.
How much Trump gear do you have?
I actually really don't have much. I actually got these hats like last week, and I have this shirt. I have a Mean Tweets Not War shirt, which I really like.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then I have the Shady Bunch.
Nice. Garrett, do you have any MAGA gear or anything like that? I
mean, I don't.
You're not a conservative by nature. You're more libertarian.
I like to play chaotic.
I kind of feel that way myself a lot of the time. You know, never mind what anyone else thinks. That if you're like voting this time for Trump, it's like, oh my God, you hate all women and you're conservative.
Of course,
like it's just hilarious. Sometimes it is the lesser of two evils kind of thing. But why don't we start really quick with the Lions? Some big news from them today. Did you catch that news? I
sure did. Big trade with the Browns.
Zadarius Smith, defensive end, coming over. Yeah, smart move. It's what good franchises do when they recognize a window is opened. It's as simple as that. You see franchises do this. I
would have been bummed out if they didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's hard to know what's going on in that room, in that house. You know what they're feeling about the horses they have. But you see this time and time again. The Rams did it. You know, like when you look at trades, I was looking at some of the biggest trade deadline moves in NFL history, and Roquan Smith to the Ravens back in 22, right? Linebacker. And wild card loss to the Bengals that year is what that got them to. Von Miller with the Rams in 2021. And they ended up, of course, going with our boy Stafford and winning the Super Bowl that year. That was a key addition. Jimmy Garoppolo to the 49ers. Now, that team was 0-9 at the time and then finished 6-10. So he ended up winning like 6 of 7 games down the stretch, and that kind of launched into the success that franchise has had over the last few years. Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins in 22. They ended up 9-8. Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers back in 22. That was the year they went 13-4, lost in the championship game to the Eagles when Purdy blew his elbow out.
Seems like also, that, like the Panthers have never recovered from that.
Who?
The Panthers have never recovered from trading McCaffrey.
Yeah.
It's just been bad decision after bad decision after bad decision.
Yeah. No, I mean, when you think about it, like they had Sam Darnold, who appears to be resurgent with the Vikings. And I'm a firm believer that any one of these NFL elite level athletes in the right situation can probably do just fine. Like they can all throw, for the most part, the deep ball. They can throw that really tough 15-yard out. Some scramble better than others, But when you take a guy and you just put him on the worst franchise in football with an inept ownership and inept coaching staff and garbage teammates, like, I don't know what you expect these guys to do. You know,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
Tom Brady has historically taken like fairly, subpar guys around him, running game, like he had years where his receivers weren't, the best in the game. And it's like he can make something happen with them just because he sees the game, everything slows down. It's a different level. And Patrick Mahomes, I think of as one of one. He's one of one in the world. But for the most part, Jared Goff is a great example of a guy that's not going to run for any yards. He's kind of where you think he's going to be. And if you can protect that guy, he'll destroy you. He'll destroy you. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, it starts up front. And if you can protect that guy and not make him do something he cannot do, which is run around like, Lamar Jackson, he can absolutely pick you apart and wish you weren't playing Jared Goff at quarterback. Who would have thought any of us would be saying that 3 years ago? But I know.
I was even just nervous heading into the season. I was like, what if last year was a fluke?
Yeah.
Like, what if he's just not going to?
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's I think a lot of us, I think it was common for a lot of us to be like, well, okay, this is the stopgap. You made this trade, you picked up a bunch of first round talent, and hopefully you can build for the future. But Jared Goff can be that bridge. He can be that bridge. And now it's like, oh no, you forget that Jared Goff is not that old. He's younger than Stafford, I think. And I mean, he's definitely younger than Stafford. And he was a number 1 overall pick too. Took the Rams to a Super Bowl. And I think he gets a bad rap in that. I think it was that championship game that they lost when he was with the Rams. And he broke his thumb or dislocated his thumb and played in that game. What's that?
I said he played anyway.
He played anyway. And they didn't want him to play. He didn't, he shouldn't have been playing, but it was like, he's a gutsy kid. And, I love the fact, I love it. It's such a small, stupid example. And I know people get tired of hearing me talk about the 49ers, but Brock Purdy, when you look at Brock Purdy, there was a clip that went around and his teammates were all walking out of the field. It might have even been like through like like something where there's a bunch of kids there in the stadium and the players are going to meet him and something along those lines, I think. And he was aware that cameras are on him at all times. And his teammates are fucking around and joking around. And one of them's got a goofy hat on. They've all got their jewelry. And one of them tries to put this goofy hat on Brock Purdy. And he's like, no, thanks, dude, but no. And it's like, yeah, he gets it. He's a quarterback of an elite franchise in the National Football League. That's what I think of Jared Goff. Jared Goff understands the role he has and the importance of it. And he's not, it's like, let them fuck around, let them bling out and do all their stuff. And there's a place for that. But I'm a starting quarterback in the National Football League. My job requires a little more. And I love that about Jared Goff. He doesn't talk shit. He doesn't bitch. It's what I loved about Stafford. Stafford never did either. Stafford could have thrown everybody under the bus for 10 years in Detroit.
Yeah.
Never did. Yeah, it's just a different level.
Kind of over Stafford, I think.
Yeah, I know. I get it. You know when I started getting over Stafford?
When his wife wouldn't shut up?
Well, fuck his wife. His wife is just irritating as shit. No doubt.
She makes it so much worse.
Yeah. Yeah. It does. My dad has a famous line that he loves saying all the time, which is keep your woman in check. My dad loves saying that. Like, what's up with this guy? You can't keep your woman in line. Totally. And which is funny because my mom runs the show. It's hilarious. The idea my dad's keeping anyone in check is kind of hilarious. Right. But there is something to that where it's like, sweetheart, do you not understand? Right? Like, I understand I bring a giant paycheck home every week, but you doing this isn't helping. Do you notice how I behave as the guy that's out there putting his fucking life on the line every week?
I know that he must just have like weekly talks with her. Like, why do you have to speak?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
And you say that about we were, I guarantee you, Amy, you were saying that while he was a lion.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right? Like, this isn't a political thing. This isn't a like, oh, he's not on my team anymore thing, so fuck him. No. We were having these conversations when he was our starting quarterback, and it was like, dude.
Totally.
Yeah, it reminds me of, the times I would drive around. There were times like, and it's happened with multiple girlfriends, but Beth, when we'd be driving around and all of a sudden she'd reach over and lay on my horn and be like, rah, and it's like,
I have to fight that for you, right?
Yeah, right. I'm the guy that's going to get punched because you get mad at some fucking idiot on the road. Like, what are you doing?
Yes, this is Rocky at sporting events with me.
Yeah. Why do you go? Are you the one?
Shut the fuck up.
Are you the loudmouth?
Yes. Yes, I am. Because people will just chirp behind me and it irritates me. Mm-hmm. And I just can think of like a couple times in particular, like when we were at the Michigan Notre Dame game in Notre Dame, just like fans just chirping, and Rocky is just like, can you not do that, please?
What is that?
They're going to come after me and not you.
Yeah, exactly. and Rocky.
I think that's probably it.
Guy.
We know that there's zero repercussions to us running our mouth to a dude.
Yeah,
right.
There have been more chick fights in the stands. You have seen some of that. There's a lot of hair pulling I've seen. The black community has kind of owned this with weaves flying and stuff. Those videos are fucking dynamite.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
it's good when it starts with "Hold my ring."
Hold my ring.
Hold my earrings.
Hold my earring.
Hold my earrings. Yeah.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Rocky's not a short guy though. Rocky's kind of tall.
Yeah, he's 6'2".
Yeah, he's his stature is enough to probably make people think twice before like attacking him because
he's
his wife
so non-confrontational though. It just drives him crazy and just cringes. Just like, shut up. Can you just be the bigger person?
So if I'm guessing if you're at a Michigan Notre Dame game, you're decked out in Michigan gear. And if are people giving you shit for what you're wearing, that kind of stuff in the stands, or are they talking shit about? I was
for sure wearing my Rudy was offsides shirt.
Yeah.
And I believe, actually, I know that the guys behind us.
Oh no.
Nope.
Hold
Cut
on.
out a little bit. What were you saying?
Did we lose you, Amy?
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, there you are.
They were saying like the vaunted Michigan defense. What is this vaunted Michigan defense? And like trying to talk shit because they were like scoring. And so then the defense did something really good. And I turned around and I was like, there's the vaunted fucking Michigan defense for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. A little bit of friendly trash talk in the stands.
Yeah.
Is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think we take it a little far in politics, some of the stuff I've seen online.
Oh my gosh, Mike, guess what happened right before we joined?
What?
The official Black Lives Matter Twitter page responded to me on Twitter.
Uh-oh.
Really?
Patrice Cullors herself?
What did they give you shit for now?
Admittedly, I started it.
Okay. All right. Take us from the beginning, from the top.
They tweeted something like along the lines of, like, today might be the last day of our country, or so, like something dramatic along those lines.
Yeah.
And I responded with, "Shouldn't you be planning a riot?" And
then, that's valid. That's
fair. Yeah. Okay. So far, we haven't crossed the line.
And then they responded back with, "Did you really name yourself MAGA Barbie?" And I was like, "Yes, I did.
I did.
I definitely did."
You know what's interesting about that, and you know why? So the only reason they felt the need to respond to that comment is because that comment made sense. Like if you would have made a comment that doesn't relate to them, it would have been like, what a weirdo.
Yeah.
The only reason that comment lands is because everybody understands what Black Lives Matter does.
Yes.
Like that's why that stings.
Yeah.
Right.
And
everybody in context understands what you're saying. That's why it's home.
Well, not just that, it was perfectly worded in a way where you're like, no, I was just saying, like, don't you guys have to, like, go fight for some rights or something? Like, you can totally just flip it on them and make them look like assholes.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, what, I mean, that is what you do.
I'm looking for one to sign up, I want to go burn down a white neighborhood.
Yeah, sure.
Sign me up.
What do you guys, what's the landscape like in Michigan today? What are you guys getting hit with in the media or on the streets? Anything? Is it kind of calm before the storm?
Yeah, maybe? I haven't been watching much coverage, although I've been on Twitter, but the high voter turnout, which I think just overall is a good thing. There were some issues in Northville. Was a gas leak and shut one of the polling locations down. So those people had to go vote elsewhere, apparently. But I'm getting like mixed signals on if we're actually going to get a count tonight or not, because historically Jocelyn Benson has been like, no, we can't have a vote for you by the end of the day, but seems to be saying that maybe we will. So I don't know, which is also crazy because it's like, well, then what the fuck happened in 2020?
Yes. Right. Yeah. I think we all know what happened in 2020.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It is what it is. I know that would get us banned in 2020 and 2021, 22, but there were clearly issues with that. And, it's the same playbook they used for COVID. It's the same playbook we've seen 1,000 times. It's the same media, fiery but peaceful protests. Like, we see what you're doing. And there's no doubt bullshit was going on in 2020. I just hope it was cleaned up for this time. When I talked to Craig Jardula about it, it was like, look, man, we all want our team to win. We do. But, if I find out after the fact, as we're doing our parade through Detroit, that the refs were paid off, that doesn't work. And so I hope, there's enough people keeping eyes on it this year as to what's going on that I hope we can avoid some of that shit. I don't think it'll be as coordinated or the ability to pull bullshit. And I would say that on either side. I truly mean that. I would not want,
I hope so. Yeah.
My team to win if they had to go to lengths like that. It's
right.
And I mean that when I say that. If the country felt like this is the proper direction to go in, then I'll respect that. But I don't want to find out that, it took us 2 weeks to figure out who won. And it's like, well, my entire lifetime, it didn't take you 2 weeks to figure out. It just opened such a fucking door to bullshit.
How long did it take in 2020? I don't remember. I mean, I know it was a long time, but how long did it take till we actually got an official result?
Well, it was, so 2020, what I remember is going to bed going, wow, that is a walk-off home run. It's a walk-off home run.
I remember that, yes.
That is how you went to bed at 1 a.m. And then by 4 a.m, and I remember something really weird about that night too. And it was, I think, 10 o'clock at night. And they were like, well, we're going to stop counting for the night. We'll pick this up in the morning. You can shut off your TV now. We're going to go away. That's what I remember. And then when you woke up in the morning, it was like, now everything had flipped. And now we were explaining how all that happened, but nothing to see here. No further questions. Thank you. And it was like, what? How does someone win? Like there's patterns to this that are historically true, and they all failed. Every one of those, like none of it made sense. None of it did. And then they didn't feel the need to explain anything. And you were tinfoil hat, Alex Jones, conspiracy theory crazy if you went, that seems weird. Like, My Pillow. Ask Mike Lindell how it's going, questioning the election. It's just, it's devastating for people.
Yeah.
Which coverage are you watching tonight?
Boy, I don't know. I really don't. I'll probably check out Daily Wire. I'm sure they're doing something. And
I was going to watch some Crowder stuff.
I'll probably watch Crowder.
Yeah.
I think he said he's going until they make an announcement, no matter how long that is. So yeah, I'll probably watch him. And then this is a story for another time, Mike, but also I have a proposal that I need to be your true crime consultant on this show.
Okay.
Because there's this case in Boston, a suburb of Boston, Canton, ironically enough.
Okay.
And it's a crazy story, but this reporter / blogger there uncovered all this corruption within this murder investigation. His name is Turtle Boy. His actual name is Aiden, but he has uncovered all this corruption, and they are now going after him for witness intimidation, saying that they're using his First Amendment rights completely against him. And it's the craziest story. But anyway, I love him now. Like, I'm just like, I'm obsessed with him, and he's doing a live stream tonight. So I'm probably going to tune into that.
Okay. What kind of corruption did he uncover? Anything to do with election stuff, or totally unrelated?
No, it's within the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, the Massachusetts State Police, the Canton Police Department. And it all kind of stemmed from this murder trial investigation.
Yep.
And very, very brief. I mean, essentially this woman, they're saying she hit her boyfriend with a car outside of another police officer's home. Her boyfriend was also a police officer. He was found dead the next morning on this police officer's lawn. She said she dropped him off there. He went inside. He never came back out. So she left, never saw him again. And there's a lot of shady shit that the cops and his family, the people who investigated, that they did. And this reporter was very instrumental in bringing it out. And so they have a very, very liberal witness intimidation statute there. And it's like, if you cause like emotional harm to somebody, you can be charged with witness intimidation. So it's just really crazy. It's a crazy story. So
yeah. Interesting. And so he's doing a live stream tonight.
Yes. And he's super Republican. Like, he's like, you know what? He said, if you don't like my politics, like, don't fucking tune in on Tuesday, because I'm doing an election live stream. So I'll probably tune into him for a little bit, but I'll have multiple screens going, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I know the Rumble on Rumble is going on with Crowder. And it sounds like they've invested a shitload into what they're doing. So I'm going to give that a chance for a little bit. Craig Jardula reached out to me yesterday, and he's doing one. It looks like it's maybe Jimmy Dore, something or other, but he asked if I wanted to join his coverage for a little bit.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know. He was like, I'll send you a link to join the coverage. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to add. But sure. You can
like, bring like a good energy to it.
Yeah, maybe. And I believe that's the Convo Couch is where they're doing that. So I might be on there. I told him I would do it, but I we'll see. If not, don't hold me. But I know they were doing like full all day and through the night, or up until some point tonight. Election coverage. So maybe I'll check that out for a little bit. What I won't be doing anymore is paying attention to ABC, CNN, Fox, MSNBC. I'm not doing that. I did want to check them out a little bit today and see what was going on. And it's just hilarious. I was watching Erin Burnett this afternoon for a few minutes, who I used to like. I used to like Erin Burnett. I felt like, pre-2015, she was a young, host and kind of played it down the middle. And she, I enjoyed her coverage, and something happened to these people's brains, and a bomb went off and they've all gone off the deep end. But, she's doing this coverage, and you've got these, it's like watching these reporters in a tornado, and they're like, I'm standing on it. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Yeah. It's just so dumb, all of it. Right. So having these guys with a microphone standing outside a polling station, it's just so absurd. But she's like, we're getting reports that a Trump fan was unruly at a polling station. Can you give us an update on that? And I'm like, oh my God, I see what you're doing.
Jesus Christ.
So now we're to the point of it's breaking news. If if someone got into an argument with someone there and they happen to be supporting Trump, this is somehow, look what these people do. We've gotten early reports that there's an unruly one in a polling station. You're like, okay, you're going to do the flip now and be like, this guy voted for fucking Bill Clinton one day. Let's see what he's up to. Like, seriously?
It's so disingenuous.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh my God, these people can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. So then they go to her and they're like, here's new audio of Trump or new video of Trump from just a bit ago talking about violence today. And I was like, okay, this ought to be good. And then they do their CNN graphics, quick cuts. And there's Trump and he's like, everybody's going to remain peaceful on our side. That's just the way we behave. Everybody should remain peaceful. If anything, it's the other side we'd be worried about, but I want everyone to, and all he's doing. So basically here's Trump discussing like, this is the way people need to be, respectful to each other, peaceful at all times, no matter what, and blah, blah, blah. But their framing of it is, here's new video of Trump talking about violence today. And you're like, okay, I guess if you want to spin it that way, I suppose he's talking about
broken.
It's unbelievable. And that framing is important because if you're just hearing that in the back, I don't know who it's reaching unless it's just people that desperately want to believe,
Yeah, that's who their audience is. People who desperately want to believe. Nobody who listens to them is going there for like the actual news. It's either a hate watch or you desperately want to believe that what you're thinking is happening.
The other thing that they did, which was kind of funny, and this is all in the matter of 30 minutes, because I'd rather work on Legos in the other room than stomach watching these fucking clowns fall over themselves to see who can shit on Trump the fastest and hardest, or take something out of context. Like, here's Trump talking about violence today. And you're like, okay, he had a wonderful, peaceful message there. I don't know why this is breaking news, but okay. Yeah. But then they're like, and this is kind of a stinging indictment. This must be getting through to these people to the point that they're forcing these journalists to ask these questions on the ground. And they're asking some woman, they're like, so who did you vote for? And she's like, I voted for Kamala Harris. And they're like, so are you voting for Kamala or against Trump? And they had to get someone on camera going, oh, I'm voting for Kamala. And that was good enough. They didn't like, would you care to like any reason why? Like, you would never do that because
no elaborating.
Yeah. It's just so funny. And then they got Van Jones there on the pre-coverage.
Oh, Van Jones.
I used to like Van too, and
yeah, he didn't used to be so bad. They just all are like, they've lost all credibility. Every last one of them. Nobody has any credibility on those stations.
Well, his framing of things today was, they're all trying to have like, with this weird tinge of like a positive message for the country. And, oh, we're proud of the poll workers out there today and proud of everyday Americans who are going out and voting. They mean the half that's voting for their team, of course.
Right. Of course.
But they frame it that way. Like, this is a real patriotic day and blah, 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 like just nonsense. But, Van goes on to let everybody know that, there's an authoritarian movement out there that has pulled in some good people like union workers and stuff like that. And people like JFK and, so there's a movement for conspiracy theories and authoritarianism. Can a movement for freedom and decency win the day? We're going to find that out tonight. And it's like, really?
It's so the choice, dramatic.
It's so dramatic. And it's like, oh, our choice is Kamala Harris is the freedom fighter. Really? Okay.
Totally.
Yeah. Yep. And Trump is the authoritarian conspiracy theorist team.
And they, And like everything they say is just like so fake. It's just so, it drives me crazy. I don't understand how they get away with it.
Well, it's the troubling part is because it's kind of hard to explain why, when you go, oh, because it's easy to go, oh, you don't like Van Jones because Van Jones doesn't agree with you. And it's like, no, that has nothing to do with it, because I watched Van Jones for years. I watched there's a bunch of CNN contributors more so than hosts, but over the years I'm like, that guy's got something there. And then it's like there's a clear break. And the Van Jones that I watched, I always knew Van Jones and I didn't see eye to eye politically. We could agree on a few things, we could disagree on many more things, but he presented a compelling case, gave me something to think about, and I appreciated it. It was like, okay, there's someone who's articulate, well thought out, clearly understands what he's talking about, and he's presenting an argument for something that I wasn't aware of. And I appreciated that. This framing and narrative that he's spinning now is like, dude, what are we doing here?
Right.
Authoritarian regime versus,
I mean, that's why, like, once you lose your credibility, you just can't come back from that. Like, everybody knows that that's not true.
Right.
And so there's going to come a time when Trump is not running anymore. And we're very close to that time. And Van Jones is still going to be on there giving his commentary. And nobody's going to believe a word he says because they know that he has no credibility. None of those people do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see that? Speaking of those stations, did you see that Matt Walsh bought ad space right after Rachel Maddow cut to break, and the commercial right before they came back on Joy Reid's show for his Am I Racist documentary?
No. Oh, yes. I love it.
And there's all these people like posting like, why am I seeing this racist bullshit on my, MSNBC screen?
Brilliant. I love it.
So awesome. He is like the world's greatest troll.
Dude, he's fantastic. I finally watched that movie, by the way.
Did you?
It's so good.
Isn't it so good?
Yeah, it really is. It really shows you. It's I know this word gets thrown around a lot, and so it kind of loses its power. But if you're looking to define what a grift is, if you really want to know, like, what does it mean when people are grifting for something, trying to make money off something, they pretend to be around, like that right there is the grift. BLM is a grift. Like what Matt Walsh exposes. None. No, it's sad to see how many people fall for it. And part of me just goes, well, you stupid fucks with an extra $5,000. Like, you don't see anything wrong with spending $5,000 to get berated by a couple women, to like
crazy.
Unguilt yourself from your obscene racism. Like, it's sad.
How does nobody pushes back to those people? Nobody is like, hang on a second.
Yeah. Well,
I don't understand that.
That's why it's so impressive what Walsh did for this. And of course, the key to that whole documentary is, and I'm glad Matt was honest about all of this and put it in the movie.
Yeah.
With, $5,000 was paid for this interview. $50,000 was paid for, like, that's what it takes. Like, these people couldn't resist the quick cash. They 100%. Just couldn't, like, knowing who Matt Walsh was, it did take you 2 minutes to do a little research. Matt Walsh was able to show them, just like he did with What Is a Woman? Exact same thing, where it was like, now let them explain themselves. This is the overarching issue I've had with the media for so long. The fact that Matt Walsh had to make a documentary called What Is a Woman tells you they're not doing their job.
Right.
That's what that tells you.
Yeah.
Like, Joe Rogan exists because of your failure. The fact that we're all watching Joe Rogan to see what John Fetterman says about these issues, or what Donald Trump or JD Vance says. It's a shame Kamala Harris didn't do it. That's an indictment of the fucking landscape media people. It's why this is their final year of barely relevancy. This is it. This election, we get through today. That's it. There will be, by the time 40 years from now comes, nobody's going to be watching any of that shit. None of it. And that's the reason. That's the reason. Have you noticed yet that every one of these people that's paid millions and millions of dollars a year to be an anchor on one of these shows, what do they all have right now? A fucking podcast on the side. All of them. They're all Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is paid bazillions of dollars from ESPN, yet he gets most of his talking stuff from his podcast. And, like any of these shows that you're watching, and it'll be more of them, pretty soon Anderson Cooper will have a podcast. They're all doing podcasts.
Yep.
Right? Trust me, when you're actually preparing for a show with a staff and all that, it's a lot that goes into that. Like, you don't have time to fuck around with bullshit. Like, you don't have time to go do another show, but they're starting to understand, like, oh, no one gives a shit about this thing. This fake plasticky garbage, that we do at night. Like, no one cares about that hour, and they know it's fake.
Well, plus podcasting's where all the money's at, because we got $5 from Bobby Watermelon Smashing Gallagher that says,
all right.
Never seen Amy, but I recognize her voice. Great shows, fella. Garrett, don't interrupt anything important.
Lastly on Van Jones today on CNN, he's going out with a heartfelt, and he's like, it's just, Trump's movement. Trump is a movement, and it's a movement that's pulled in the richest man in the world, and I'm like, as opposed to the other movement that's pulled in all the other richest people in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, oh, the conservative side finally got one. Like, what is your point? Like, it's not like, oh, they used to do this with Fox News. Like Fox, it's like, oh, you mean the one network on television that isn't parroting the same message? Like,
right. She's got all of Hollywood. Add them all up, and they probably have more money than Elon.
We got the one guy who wasn't at a Diddy party. That's about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And the sad part too is there's no fucking danger to Eminem or Beyonce or Taylor Swift. None. It's not dangerous. It's not rebellious. There's definitely a danger to Elon Musk for going out, for Joe Rogan. Ask Kid Rock how that's going.
I just saw something on Twitter that was like, contrary to rumors going around on social media, Michael Jordan did not endorse anybody for president. And I was just like, we know who he voted for. Because if he would have voted for Kamala, he would have said that, no problem. So
you'd know it.
We know who he voted for. A non-endorsement is an endorsement.
Did you think it was big last night when we were doing the show and just before we started, the Elon Musk interview with Rogan dropped? I don't know if you watched it, if you had time.
I did. Yep.
I got through most of it today too.
Did you?
Yep.
What'd you guys think of it?
It's Elon and Rogan. I mean, those two guys know each other. They get each other, and it's kind of weird how they just bounce off usually in the same little thing.
Yeah. Did you?
And yeah, I think it was, Rogan. What you were gonna say is he endorsed Trump after that, which I think was huge. Yeah, because for so long, people have been like, he would never vote for Trump. Oh, you thinking him on the podcast is him endorsing him? No, he didn't. And it's like, no, he did.
Hold on.
Well, if you've listened long enough, you could see the wall crumbling. You could see it. As this got closer and closer, you could see how much of a problem Rogan was having with the stuff we talk about every day. Yep. Like, it was becoming clear. He was trying to remain neutral. And I kind of was thinking, like, this is kind of bullshit, dude. You know exactly what's going on, and you know exactly which side is pushing this. Like, I don't think it matters that much, celebrity endorsements. I really don't. But, Rogan might be a little bit different. He might be. Him famously going on Lex Friedman's podcast, I think it was, and saying, like, I'll never have Trump on. I'll never do that interview. They've asked me before, but I'll never do it because I don't want to humanize someone. Like, that's someone who has a pretty deep understanding of the power of a simple interview. Like Joe Rogan knows exactly what would happen there. When you talk to someone, you have a little fun, humanizing someone. It's why it was so stupid for Hillary not to go on Stern show 8 years ago or whatever. Like that would have, potentially de-roboted her. And Rogan famously did not want anything to do with that. I've never supported him, not voting for him. And so for him to come full circle like that and then make that announcement, I don't know if that has to do with a lot of the fact that RFK was his guy. I think wasn't RFK his guy this time?
Yeah. Yep. And I think that's a huge part of it. I think he's really good friends with Elon. I'm sure he probably knows more about the Twitter bullshit than even we do. So I think he puts a lot of trust in that. And honestly, I think when CNN changed the color of his skin when he had COVID and posted that video. I think that moment they lost him forever. There was like no coming back from that. They legitimately changed the color of his skin. Yeah.
That's a pivotal moment. It really is. I'm glad you brought that up because that was for him where he was like, what the fuck, man?
Right.
Like if there was any doubt about like, it wasn't rumor and like, oh, you're just sorry they're not on your side and you're, sensitive. Like, no. It was crystal clear. And then the cool thing about that was they've been able to get away with that bullshit probably for decades. And Rogan, with tenfold the audience, literally 10 times the audience size, was able to go, you motherfuckers, here's the video, here's the one you posted, and show them side by side.
Yeah.
And everybody in unison got to see CNN for what they were. Everybody. And the damage is it's hard to measure, Do you want to play? Do you have that video of Elon up there?
Yeah.
I can't remember which part I sent you. I posted
like
this
the
last
20 minute mark
about him. This is not what I posted last night on Facebook and I'm on Twitter. This is a different part of that, but I for whatever reason I thought it was compelling. But why don't we listen to a couple minutes?
The Twitter acquisition was like, it's like, man, if I don't do this, I think we're screwed, is the issue.
Well, if you didn't do it, no one else was going to do it because it wasn't a financial winner. It was kind of a crazy move.
It's a crazy move. I mean, the thing was way overpriced. Like long term, I think we can ultimately make it a win for investors. But boy, this is a hard way to make a living.
Well, there's also a concerted effort to suppress it. There's a concerted effort with the advertisers.
Well, we had and still have a massive advertiser boycott that was organized by a bunch of left wing NGOs. Like and you always want. And I should have brought my. I have a hat, Make Orwell Fiction Again.
I've seen that hat.
Yeah. I should have brought, I was going to wear my,
me too.
I should have brought my Make Orwell Fiction hat again. But I mean, it's just totally nuts. So.
If you didn't do it, no one would have. And here's the hilarious narrative that I keep hearing from idiots. Elon's a bad businessman. Twitter is worth, 400% less than when he bought it. No, it wasn't worth that in the first place.
It wasn't worth that in the first place.
It wasn't worth $44 billion, you fucking morons.
Yes.
Like, wrong. And also, you're not taking into account the advertiser boycott.
Exactly.
That's total bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So there are these organizations, like you can tell there's like, they're like when they have an Orwellian name. So like the Center for Countering Digital Hate is a total scam organization, because they're like the Ministry of Truth type of thing in Orwell. They're a censorship organization.
Yeah.
And they organize and they pushed the advertisers to boycott. So we still have some of the boycott is starting to lift. And I think if Trump wins, we'll see probably most of the boycott lift. But if Kamala wins, we'll see that boycott get stronger. And they'll friggin' shut down. There's no way that the sort of Kamala puppet regime would allow X to exist.
You really think that they'll be able to shut it down, though? Is there a pathway to that?
Yes.
What would they do?
Well, I mean, they can stick the DOJ on and say like, they've had this whole thing about like hate speech, misinformation, whatever, except that they're the ones pushing the misinformation.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop them from filing massive, lawsuits and using the DOJ. I mean, like the DOJ has, been attacking SpaceX, for example, for not hiring asylum seekers, even though it is legal for SpaceX to hire anyone who is not a permanent resident of the U.S. So we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. There's just an example of what DOJ can do.
So it's illegal to hire someone who's not an American citizen.
What SpaceX is considered an advanced weapons technology. So it's covered by international traffic and arms regulations because we make rocket technology that can be used against the United States. So like if North Korea or Iran got SpaceX rocket technology, they could use that to launch nukes at America.
Right.
That would be bad.
Yeah. That'd be really bad.
That'd be really bad.
Yeah.
So we're since we are in like the most extreme category of weapons technology at SpaceX, under U.S. ITAR law, it is illegal for us to hire anyone who's not a permanent resident, because the presumption is that if they're not a permanent resident, they're going to return to their home country and take the rocket technology with them. So so it's illegal for us to hire anyone who's not not a permanent. They can have a green card or be a citizen. They just have to be a permanent resident of the United States. Then there's another law that says if you discriminate against asylum seekers, you're also breaking the law. So they just
his face right there is
Dave.
perfect. It said it all.
DOJ can only do a small number of big lawsuits every year. Launched a giant lawsuit against SpaceX, saying that SpaceX discriminated against asylum seekers. And we're like, but it's illegal for us to hire anyone who's not a permanent resident. So we're in this, like, this is what I mean. It's like the Orwell situation is getting insane. Like,
all right, that's good enough,
down
Gary.
if you do.
Yeah.
You get the point. But you can see the overreach and the power that he's talking about. And
the thing is it's like they don't even have to go through with that lawsuit. It's enough for that to get out to the media that Elon is racist and discriminates against illegal aliens and doesn't hire, immigrants and blah, blah, blah. And that's enough. That's enough. Knowing full well that he can't hire non-permanent citizens.
Well, exactly. And when we talk about the damage is already done, it is in the filing. It is in the reporting. Right? Like that message gets out there. The correction on page 8 doesn't matter. Right. That's what's so immediate about Twitter and community notes and why it's so important for that counter to get out there, not on page 8 a week later, but right now, let's clear this up. Let's fix this. Like I can't stress it. I know you know it, how important this was and how his acquiring Twitter has a way of keeping the others in line. You don't have free reign and everybody else gets it, because that's what you were seeing also.
They were
right. They were starting to make comments, and I mean high up leaders, Kamala, those types of people were saying, well, it's not right for you to be banned on Facebook, but then not on Twitter or Instagram. In other words, what they're saying there is if it's bad enough for Instagram, then all the rest have to fall in place and ban them as well. So you get total control of that. Well, if you get one of those that's doing its own thing and won't play along, where do you think people are going to gravitate to?
Right.
They're going
I mean, just think if Twitter would have been the only place you could have gotten that Hunter Biden story.
Yeah.
Would have changed everything.
Yeah. And I can't remember who it was, but a CBS reporter came out yesterday, was talking about the Hunter Biden story and the reporting they did and how it made her sick when she saw the Leslie Stahl interview with Trump. It's just that Mr. President, we can't verify it. That bullshit. She said it made her sick watching that because she'd already done the reporting. She'd already been,
and they sat on it for like months, right?
Oh yeah. They'd specifically tasked her with investigating that laptop, reaching out to the people in those emails. Okay, this isn't about Hunter's dick, by the way.
Exactly. It's
which
not about
everybody
the crack.
loves.
It's not about his dick. No, it's not about that.
And I'll be clear, the dick part of it is fucking hilarious. I love that aspect of the laptop. watching him pull his dick out and smoke crack with whores is awesome. I love that part of it.
Humanized him, if anything.
That's not what I'm talking about, though. This has very, very little to do with his dick. It really does. The corruption is what nobody wants to talk about. And it was, I probably still have the story right here. Sorry.
Remember Tony Bobolinsky came out time in 2020 and was like,
Yeah, and they painted him like a maniac. No one wants to talk about that. But anyways, it was a CBS reporter working with Norah O'Donnell, I think, and going with their lawyers, and she breaks down the whole thing. She did a blog about it, about how that went down and how this was at the end of the day, this was a missed opportunity for CBS. I was like, no, that's exactly the opportunity they wanted. Mm-hmm. What do you mean missed? There was no missed about this. That's malfeasance at its finest.
Yeah.
You knew what you were doing. You did it that way on purpose, and you stuffed that story.
Yeah.
Period.
Just like, I'm drawing a blank on who it was. You'll remember, I'm sure. With Jeffrey Epstein, she had that story ready and gave it to,
the chick
ABC?
Fucking the black guy on ABC's Good Morning America.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And they didn't want to run it. They shut it down, and then it all happened, and she was like, "Hello,
what the fuck? I had this
story
weeks ago.
Shut down."
Yeah. The whole we can't verify.
But like there is, and this makes you sound crazy when you say it, but there are ex-FBI, ex-CIA in high up positions at those media companies.
Oh yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Just like at Twitter, and I mean not Twitter anymore, but the social media companies. They all you leave there and you go and you get an executive job at one of those companies.
Yeah. Don't start looking at Mika Brzezinski's family on MSNBC. Whatever you do.
Oh,
don't do that. Don't do that. The other chick on MSNBC, the conservative, definitely not a CIA plant. 100% not.
They never are.
The long blonde, what's her name? 100% not a CIA plant. Just say it. You can do your own research on that. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but whatever you do not research Mika Brzezinski on MSNBC, and don't the fucking blonde that claimed to be a former conservative. Don't look at her either. Whatever you do. And if you don't even come peddling CIA agent here, because it's not welcome.
Don't do that.
We're not peddling that kind of bullshit nonsense.
And do not Google the blue waffle.
Yeah. Don't Google under no circumstances. Standing orders. Those orders have not changed.
I guess while we're at it, don't go to lemonparty.com. It's not as fun as it sounds.
Oh my God. See, you scare me the most, Garrett, when you say stuff. When you tell me not to do something, I literally won't go look at that.
Yeah. I said don't do it.
Yeah, I feel like I'd have someone knocking on my door in like 5 minutes.
No, it's not that bad.
Here's what I can't figure out, though, Amy and Garrett. I was looking at Facebook today, and our dear friend J. Chris Newberg posted, and
prominent Trump supporter J. Chris Newberg.
Yeah, your libtard is showing again, sir.
Yeah.
And he just posted something like, and I'm sure he's just trying to be funny, because he's a comic. But he posted something like, I wish someone would pay Elon Musk $1 million a day to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And fine. But that's kind of the key difference between, like, I have no interest in shutting up Nicole Wallace, I think was her name, who's definitely not a CIA plant.
Yeah.
Definitely not. On MSNBC. Don't do your own research. I have no interest in shutting up Nicole Wallace. I have no interest in telling, the Call Me Daddy podcast to shut the fuck up. Like, ever. Like, it doesn't even come into my mindset. Like, I watched start to finish that Elon Musk interview, and there was nothing in there where I would go, that guy needs to shut the fuck up. Nothing.
Right.
Like, not even a little bit. Like,
no.
He's talking about the same types of fears that a lot of us have had. about what this election really means, if you're really paying attention, if you're really studying this stuff for a living, people like us that are paying a lot of attention to this, especially us childless cat ladies, that can spend a lot more time on this and have done so for many, 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 many years and have seen the poison that these people have trickled out. It should scare a lot of people what's going on. And to come away from that interview and be like, that guy needs to shut the fuck up. Like, okay, like I get it. If Elon Musk was on there going, if Trump doesn't win this election, I hope everybody burns their city down.
Right.
I would be going, that guy needs to shut the fuck up, man.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Right.
But that's not at all what he was saying. And you know, when I look at this election, and we'll wrap up in a minute, but I don't think these interviews matter. I think Joe Rogan just had an absolute fucking monster of a week. It's just impressive. Period. I'm envious. I'm glad that space exists. I'm glad and happy for Joe Rogan because he seems like a decent dude. You know, he really does. He seems like he's an honest broker. And that's all I can ask from him. I don't have to agree with him all the time. He doesn't seem like an egomaniac fucking asshole. He doesn't seem like a meathead. No. He seems curious as a human being. And that's all I can ask of someone that sits in front of a microphone is that I believe that they believe what they're saying. And we can disagree. We can debate from there. That's fine. Just let me think that this is a level playing field as far as the information goes. No gotcha moment matters in this election, right? Trump grabbed my tits 30 years ago. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No. Grab your ballot before it goes in. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know,
the only people who still care about that are the most liberal of liberal. Everyone else has moved way past it.
Your echo chamber has to be so fucking small for you to be in that world. But at the same time, I don't think, Kamala's DOJ killed Peanut and Fred, the squirrel and raccoon. We could go out on that.
It's funny, but I get it. Yeah.
But I don't, maybe it speaks a little bit to a larger issue, but I don't think that's Kamala Harris's fault. Trump as Hitler isn't going to work. Kamala wants to transition illegals in prison. Like those things I don't think are going to work. Like, I think there's so much more I'm worried about, so much more. And I know people don't want to believe it. Some people have given up. They don't care. But what Elon Musk is talking about in that interview is well thought out, is not wrong. It's what I've been feeling for a long fucking time and have been bitching about for a long time. These people flirting with the First Amendment, it's a damn shame to me that, before 22, Roe v. Wade became what it did, because without Roe v. Wade, this is not a conversation.
No, it's just not. Though, I think back to 2016, and I mean, if you were vocal about Trump, you were an outlier. I mean, there were no celebrity endorsements. I mean, he was like the Antichrist. Kind of same thing in 2022 or 2020, two. But in 2024, I mean, you can't discount. There is power in those guys have a lot of influence. And I'll tell you why I think Joe Rogan's matters the most. And that's because he's a powerful guy. He's a normal guy. He has influence, and he's proof that you can change your opinion. You can change your outlook. Yep. It's okay to evolve, and you're not a racist piece of shit if you like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
The tide has changed, and I think it gives people, it makes people feel more comfortable with going, you know what? Me too.
Well, I think it's also hard to get down on Rogan because he has this extensive history of years and years and years of interviewing everybody from everywhere. Like long before Trump was even a thing in 2016, Rogan still has a back catalog of him talking to anybody about anything. Yeah. So when people are trying to peg him as some kind of right-wing MAGA racist now, it's like, no, he just does this. This is what he's been doing the whole time.
Yeah. And there's something to be said for so many people get, they do a show and it's kind of what it is. And before long, it's got some giant slick production behind it. and it's got big staffs, and Rogan's hasn't changed at all.
No.
I'm not here for that. And I don't think Rogan knows why or how he got where he is. You know what I mean?
No, he doesn't.
It's as big a surprise to him as it is to anybody else.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is because it wasn't done for the glitz and glamour of it. The fact of the matter is, Rogan had a show on NBC with News Radio. He had another one on NBC with Fear Factor. And that, you know, you look at the numbers they spit today, News Radio would have averaged 30 million viewers an episode. Like Fear Factor is network television when network television was still network television. Yeah. And what that means is if you had a network television contract, gobs of money. I mean, like when you talk about fuck you money, Joe Rogan had more fuck you money than you can imagine long before the podcast.
Yeah.
So that's not someone who has to worry, oh, did I say the wrong thing? That I love people that can look when the landscape media is pearl clutching, like, oh my God, is it safe to walk outside when Alex Jones just dropped a new episode on InfoWars? Are we safe? When they're doing that shit and Rogan goes, oh, he's not allowed? Okay, come on in, Alex.
Yeah.
Like, that's what people want, right? And the fact that you even give a shit what Alex Jones is doing says Alex Jones is sniffing around where he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And probably has been for a long time. So, you know, that's why Rogan works. That's why I don't think it's worthless. I just don't. I think it would have been more impactful 3 months ago than it is the day before. I am glad he did that though. Put to rest, like, where does Joe Rogan sit on this? Where does, I think it is kind of the final stake in that, like, all right, where are you standing on this?
Yeah.
Because this, to me, this election is not in any way about left versus right. This is not about red versus blue. This election is 100% to me, and this is my opinion, okay? You don't have to agree with it. None of you here, anybody listening doesn't have to agree with this. This is my thought on this, is 100% about elitists' control and the people down below.
Yeah.
So this idea that, Trump is Hitler, if they really believe that, you wouldn't sit next to him at the Al Davis fucking function and giggle along with Hitler. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't need to do internal polling to go, yeah, that's not sticking. And all of a sudden, in the last 3 days, that hasn't been the message.
Right.
That should tell you a lot, people. That should say a lot.
Right.
That this is a fucking game to some. And when they start flirting with the First Amendment and misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, but we don't want to talk any further about it. Fuck you. No.
Right.
The answer is no. You don't get to do that. And so you might not like Donald Trump for the way he speaks. I don't either. I think it's counterproductive, honestly. That's not what this is about for me. And unfortunately, this turned into a woman's vote with the abortion thing, and it's been bastardized to the nth degree, and it's sad to see.
Yeah,
I saw a billboard today for Project 2025. Like, don't vote for Project 2025 with Trump's face on it.
Yeah,
so
it's
today. Like,
it's criminal. It's criminal.
It was so funny. My weed delivery person today, I was wearing this when I got my delivery. Yeah. And she's like the funniest lady. She's like my favorite. And she pulls up and she's like, if I were voting today, that's who I'd be voting for too. And she's like, you know what? Personally, I don't think a woman should be president. We're too emotional. And I was like, you know what? You're so right.
At least you're real. I love it.
I would say that with people. Certain people are too emotional, and that goes for guys too. Now, are there more emotional women than there are emotional guys? I absolutely would be very comfortable with Tulsi Gabbard running this fucking country. Sure. Yeah, I would. Yeah. She's very measured, smart. She's got the background. Yes. She's, like I've told you for years now, Amy, you're going to get involved in some political level on some level. I told you yesterday why I like having you on here, because it doesn't turn super emotional and you flake out. Yeah. Like, no, there are very, very capable, strong women that in the right position could do amazing things, and I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the last two they've tried to fucking
Yeah,
champion.
it hasn't been them, which leads me to believe they don't actually want that.
Yeah, right. It's just sad. Like like we can all agree we could do better than Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Like it's pretty simple.
It is. I sent Garrett something to pull up really quick because I thought it was hilarious. If what we're saying doesn't resonate, someone posted on Twitter that they're a single issue voter and they voted to see this again. So they were so shocked. They were so shocked.
Unfortunately, this is going to be me if it doesn't go the right way. I just won't be on video.
Oh God. It's so classic because they did not expect it.
No, none of us did. I remember being on the phone with Jay starting about 9 o'clock at night, and we were just like, dude, this is fucking unbelievable. Is this happening? Is this happening? And it was before you could like get some magical switch in the middle of the night to flip everything. It was like, you're watching it in real time and there's no stopping those dominoes. They are on their way down, and sorry, the witch is fucking
remember
dead.
Hillary had to like cancel her party, and like she didn't even end up coming out that night because she was just like on a rampage throwing shit.
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull up because this dude sends me every meme in the book. I thought this one was funny.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
That's my
2.
favorite gift to use of all time.
Oh my God. It is the one. I
hope that person has gotten some royalties because that is the best gift ever.
Yeah, it is. I wanted, like, you know what those segments like Where Are They Now they used to do? Yes. Wouldn't you love to see an interview with the lady from, I mean, dude, what they've turned the Twitter bird into her, like, every GIF I see of her is the greatest gift. It's just a gift.
I saw one of Trump driving the garbage truck, and there's like garbage in the back, but like her face is on one of them.
Yeah. Oh man. Well,
so
I feel confident that any of the handful of people listening to us have probably voted. I'm not going to tell anybody who to vote for, but I think it's pretty clear where we stand on this. And again, this is so much bigger than an issue to me. This is so much bigger. It really is. This is the attack on the elitist class versus the minions that I didn't honestly. I've thought about this since the Drew and Mike days when I first started seeing this stuff and paying more attention to politicians and elitist media members. I didn't think it was possible. And this is a once in a lifetime opportunity right now. And
it'll change the trajectory one way or the other. It's like a total fork in the road. We either go this way or we go that way.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't think the table settings were fair or balanced. And that's kind of the point of this discussion, is that if you had a table that was honest, like these are your choices, it is so clear that we wouldn't be having this discussion. It wouldn't be about, he said this or he did that. Like, no, it wouldn't be so petty. It would be so obvious. Again, I come back to it's really, really unfortunate that Roe v. Wade went the way it did in 21, I think it was, and then led to the midterms in 22 and is still being used right now. The fact that the only thing of use at all is, since Hitler didn't stick or anything else didn't stick, it's down to, abortion and January 6th. Like that should tell you everything you need to know. Like real campaigns would run on real, a bright future,
all their advertisements against him are shit he doesn't even endorse or didn't even say.
Right. Yeah.
And newsflash, it doesn't matter who becomes president. Abortion is staying with the states.
Yeah.
There's nothing she's going to do. by the
No,
way.
it was
nothing. So stop
a
it.
lot of people forget they lost federal abortion protection under Biden.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
correct.
Yeah.
And that Obama ran on abortion, had a bill on his desk to sign, and he said it's not a priority. So
Yep.
it's not happening.
And I believe
it's in the States, and that's just the way it's going to stay.
And I believe Kamala Harris submitted 163 bills as her time as a senator, none of which had anything to do with women's rights or this idea that she's a champion for women. Like, okay, well, you've got a track record. People can look at it.
Yeah, and I mean, your party was trying to erase women 5 minutes ago. So to now lean on us to save you is incredibly ironic.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be an interesting night, you guys. Thanks for being here. Let's plan to do some tomorrow, whether it's we don't know, we're excited, we're depressed, whatever it is. We'll soldier on,
If you want to go yell at the sky at the same time, just text me. We can do it.
And or film it so the rest of us can enjoy it too.
I'm gonna keep laughing until they slap the cuffs on me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I see you with a shotgun and JFK in the background. So
hold on, that's not saying anything. I'm just being it's a political day, so I was just bringing in some politics. I got my Reagan Bush pin, my little JFK picture I found at a Goodwill.
Yep, JFK, and then he's got his, what is that, a pistol back there?
Yeah, a pistol, my Mosin Nagant.
I got to FaceTime my mom after this. Make sure she can see that I'm wearing this garb.
Thanks for all the help, ma'am. Thank you for the daughters you gave us, and then fuck off for your vote. Thank you. Give her all my best.
Yes.
All right, guys. Let's plan to do it tomorrow. Enjoy the night. Feel free to text me, either one of you, at some point. And
sounds good.
And maybe I'll be on the Convo couch at some point during their election coverage tonight. But yeah, stay safe, everybody, and you know how to behave. So let's remember that.
All right, peaceful and patriotic.